just a cold. I'm just talking to my daughter-in-law. So if you hear me typing away, I'm just being kept up to date on how my little granddaughter's doing. Just the end of the world when they're sick. It's just so worrying. They're babies. They don't know. They don't understand. Okay. Okay. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. Where am I? I'm on Facebook, right? Yeah. Okay. This is one of my regularly scheduled lives. I'm also on YouTube at the same time. YouTube is where I save all of my lives. Okay. I've had such a busy day today. My daughter and I'm just yabbering on, waiting for people to turn up. My daughter and I filmed, I had a lot of coaching today. And then my daughter and I filmed a couple of podcasts today. And we both said, yeah, we didn't like that one. We film a lot of them, but we don't keep them all. We just went, yeah, I didn't like that one. So we tossed it. It's funny. Okay, the podcast is going really well. If you're interested, it's in the link above. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Okay. Hello, Tarina. It's on YouTube. Okay. Hello, Danny, Kelsey. Where are you from, by the way? I'd love to know. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. I did a podcast. I think it was yesterday. I can't remember. Anyway, I was a guest on a podcast, and such a coincidence. I think he's living in New York now, but turns out he's from Vancouver too. We didn't even know it. So yeah, it'll be out probably in a few weeks. Northern California, Prince George. I love the sibling podcast. Not that my 15-month-old is getting a sibling anytime soon. I don't remember filming the sibling. I don't remember filming any of them, I don't think, because I talk about parenting all the time. So Scotland. Hello, Scotland. Sweden. I'd love to get up to those Nordic countries one day. I'm half Norwegian. I'd love to get up there one day. Okay, Frederickson. There we go. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Fredericksburg. I got that, didn't I? Fredericksburg. There you go. Virginia. Welcome, Mary. Nashville, Tennessee. Now I know how to say that. Okay, so let's get going with the stuff here. So if you go in the link above, you can see my free behavior board, all my courses, my coaching, and my brand new podcast. It's just been up for a week. We've dropped 4 episodes, 3 on the first day, and then Tuesday. It's every Tuesday they come out, so you can check it out. You look great today. Yeah, I had a shower. Thanks for making parenting a lot less stressful, more fun. Oh, excellent. Merritt, BC. I like the no stress, but the best thing is the fun. I really encourage parents to have fun with their kids. And the only way to do that is to get rid of all that bad behavior by setting up systems and disciplining and setting up your leadership. Then you can just relax and have fun with your kids, just like I did. It was I had a blast parenting. I thought it was fun. Okay. Lion's Head, Ontario. I've never heard of that. I've heard of Lion's Head, but I didn't know. I don't think it was in Ontario. I could be wrong. Played with the grandkids this afternoon. I need a shower. Kids are messy, aren't they? You're always on the floor playing with them. I was almost late here today because I was texting with my daughter-in-law. My little granddaughter has a cold, and they're so confused when they don't feel well because they're not used to that. And so, yeah, she'll be fine. Illinois. Hello, Robin. If you check out, we've got a brand new series coming out. If you sign up to the newsletter, it'll be coming out in there. Anyway, it's a brand new series. I've done it before. It's with the boot camp courses. I'll be doing a live group Q&A like I did before. So like group coaching sessions kind of, or Q&As. And so you have to be on the course to do that, on the boot camp courses. So that'll be starting on October 19th. We haven't announced it yet, but I just did. So yeah, we're just setting that up today. Okay. How am I going to be accountable? Forgot the chocolate chips after my 15-month-old son went potty. Does he get an extra 15 months is awfully young to be potty training. So yeah, I don't know what to say to that, because to me, it's too young. A lot of what I do with potty training, they need to be about 2 before they really get it. So yeah, I'm a little bit sort of hesitant to comment on that. 11-year-old, she said, I'm ruining her life. Okay, dramatic. She's very angry and she should have more freedom. I'm pretty sure it's because I'm becoming a leader since she hates spending time with me. So, yeah, they say stuff. Just go, all righty then. Yeah, just keep following through with what you're doing. If you're confident that you're on the right track, just keep following through. Try to connect with her. It doesn't matter if she wants to be around you. Just keep showing that you want to be around her. I'm not saying you want to be around her right now, but just pretend you do anyway. Okay. My daughter and I were just filming. We did 2 podcasts today. Oh, shoot, I forgot my water. Anyway, we did 2 podcasts today, and we both looked at each other and said, yeah, we didn't like that one. So we just tossed one of them. That's funny. Usually they're pretty good. Today, I don't know. Our energy just wasn't quite as good today. So, but we've got like that one won't come out for a couple months anyway. The other one that was good. Love your work. Thanks so much, Robin. I appreciate that. I appreciate your support. A lot goes into this. I volunteered with kids for decades, never dreaming I'd turn this into a business. So yeah, imagine turning your passion into a business. I never thought I would. But yeah, I always loved figuring kids out. I found them fascinating because that's us. That's how we all started. If you can figure kids out, you can probably figure most adults out. Excited for my first live, coming from Perth, Western Australia. Hi, Amanda. I never made it to Perth. We lived in Australia for about 20 years. I never made it to Perth because as soon as I landed, I got pregnant and I was just out in the suburbs raising kids. So I never traveled around Australia. So yeah, I never made it that far west. For anyone who doesn't know, like most of Australia is kind of like Canada. Us Canadians are all amassed along the southern border because it's where it's warmer down there. Whereas in Australia, they're all amassed across the eastern border. Just, I don't know why that is. But on the western border, there's really just Perth. Well, I guess Adelaide's sort of south, but it's still sort of on the eastern side. But Perth, there's really not much between most of Australian population and Perth. It's really far removed. And Tasmania is an island down below, but it's still, it's a lot closer. But yeah, Perth's the trip. I don't even know if you can drive across Australia. It's so hot. I had friends years ago who decided to drive not across Australia. They drove down to Melbourne from Brisbane, where we lived, and they decided to take the inland road, which would be hotter, not realizing what they were doing. Well, of course, it was too hot. Their air conditioner blew out, and it was like 40 plus, 45, 50 degrees or something. It was just horrendous. Anyway, and this is Celsius, right? So anyway, they couldn't even roll down their windows because the wind coming in from driving would burn their skin off because it was that hot. So they had to drive with no air conditioning and the windows up. They said they had their kids with them and everything, but the kids were older, like 10 and 12. So it's amazing they survived. Yeah, don't drive inland unless you know what you're doing. I wouldn't have believed that if I hadn't lived in Australia. The heat is just unbelievable. Okay. Someone said you definitely can. Can what? What did I say? I don't know what I can do. Okay. I forget what I've just said. Okay. Any advice for an almost 3-year-old who knows when to potty on the toilet, but only when not wearing panties? I don't understand that question. Maybe you could rephrase the question. I don't quite understand that one. My 16-month-old, oh, you're not going to like me, Tabitha. My 16-month-old is better than most 2-year-olds now, LOL, rarely acts out, only 2 months of watching. I'm so grateful. Other parents don't really want to hear that. So skip. I have a 4-year-old boy who's fantastic. Oh, here we go again. He's helpful, loves learning, etc. However, here we go. However, he has sudden and long, random tantrums, sometimes for no obvious reason. In school, he recently started throwing the chairs, and his tantrums can last hours. The school and our family are not sure why they happen or what to do. Do you have any recommend? Well, I'd have to assess that situation. You have to hire me for coaching to figure that one out. I'd need to ask a lot of questions. So yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. I don't have a clue what's happening. I have to ask. I'd have to assess that. I'd have to look into it. Okay. If you're interested in coaching, anyone, you can go up in the link above. I do have a wait list for that. It's usually about a week, I think, right now. Okay. But I look for different ages too. So it could even be today, because I'm looking for certain ages. I like to mix up all the ages. I go from 0 up to teenagers. Okay. This is funny. It's not funny, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. This is from Haley. I'm having trouble being a good, non-yelling, emotional parent. Being in the first trimester of pregnancy. Is it okay to not be perfect until later? I have a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. Nobody's perfect here, okay? I was making mistakes all the time, but my kids called me on it and I was punished for it. I had consequences. So we're not aiming for perfection here, so don't worry about it. Listen, if you're pregnant, you do whatever you got to do to look after yourself and the baby. No judgment here at all. Well, there never is anyway. Okay, so this is from Robin. My big question is, I will be moving away from my 2 youngest, 10 and 12. Their other mother, so this is same-sex couple, right? Will probably have them full-time. How am I to put your practices in place when they visit when other mom won't follow the same parenting? You don't have to worry about that. They understand, especially at this age, they understand school is different than dance or than swimming lessons and one mom's house and another mom's house. They adapt to different leadership or lack of. So just worry about yourself, okay? And if you guys are on good terms, I guess you're splitting up, I'm guessing. So if you and the other mom are on good terms, you could actually use the same behavior boards. But if you're not in good terms, just worry about what you're doing, okay? Don't worry about the other house. If you don't have any access to the other house, don't worry about it. Like if you're not talking, I don't know. That happens a lot. I deal with that all the time in coaching. Where is it on I don't see the link. The link should be somewhere on Facebook. God, don't ask me. I don't know. Oh, God, I hate it when people ask me about social media because I don't do any of it. My daughter does it all. Let me see. I'll go look. I don't know. Where would you look up something? What? I can't figure it out. I don't know how to do social media stuff. Just a sec. I'm looking for the link on Facebook. I know it's somewhere. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's hard to figure out. No, it isn't. It's in the I can't figure it out. I don't know. I don't know how to find the link. Oh, maybe it'll be in the about. Look in the about. Yeah, it'll be in the about. Look in the about section of Facebook there. Yeah, my daughter does all the social media stuff, obviously, for good reason. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't have a clue. She does all that. How do you deal with lying? Just put down on the behavior board, which is completely free. Check out the link above or wherever it is in my bio or whatever. Check out the link and just go there and you can get my free behavior board. And it is put down no lying as the rule. Just say it like it is. No lying. No anger, nothing. Just put no lying. And then every time they lie, there's a consequence. So make that their rule. I don't know why she's doing this. You said you're almost 3-year-old's peeing herself when she's not wearing, or when she's wearing panties. Yeah, she's got something to catch them. Yeah, but you can't not have her wear panties. So have you tried I don't know what's going on though. Potty on the toilet without making a mess, but only when not wearing panties. She always tends to wet them. I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. I've had a lot of potty questions today. I don't know why. In coaching and everything today, a lot of potty stuff. I've talked about pee and poop a lot today. I'm just throwing that out there. Let me think here. So she's 3. She just set up a reward system. You know, when you're potty training, it's all positive. There's no discipline in potty training. It's all reward system. Say every time you pee on the potty, you'll get a chocolate chip. So try that because she's almost 3. If you want to check out my potty party course, sounds like she's already sort of potty trained. So I probably wouldn't get that course if I were you. But yeah, just say there's a reward every time you do, just for now. Okay. Okay. Kelsey on YouTube said, do you have any advice for 3-month-old, like basically going down the path? Basically with babies up to about 15 months, you just meet their needs and meet their wants. So you're just kind of giving into them all the time. But if they hit or do anything, you just hang onto their hand, you say no, and then you redirect. So you say no and redirect. So you don't let them keep hitting you. You hang onto their hand, you say no. But you don't want them to cry when you say no. So you're starting to teach them right from wrong. But yeah, very gently, and yeah, just no advice for now. Just meet their needs and meet their wants. You know, I remember I had a friend once who asked me, why do you pick your kids up every time they cry? And they were babies. And I said, I'm meeting their needs and their wants because they're babies. So yeah, I don't, you know, and there's this old saying, well, they're just doing it to get attention. They're a baby. That's right. They want attention. They're getting it. It's not like I mean, if I couldn't pick them up, I didn't. If I was in the shower, I wouldn't jump out and pick them up. And you know why kids are always following you into the bathroom? It's because you're trapped. They know they've got you. So they won't follow you all over the house as much as they will when you go in the bathroom. They've got this radar. They're like bats. They're listening. As soon as they hear you going into the bathroom, they're in there like a shot because you're trapped. You're stuck in the shower, stuck on the toilet, stuck brushing your teeth. You're trapped. That's why they are always in there. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello. I'm half Norwegian. Is that the Netherlands? God, I'm stupid. It's close. I know that much. No, it isn't. That's Amsterdam. Stupid me. I've been to the Netherlands. I've been to Amsterdam. As soon as I said it, I thought, oh, gee, I'm stupid. I'm okay with that. Okay. How to stop a 2.5-year-old from saying shut up? Just say no and then walk away. But you say no to snub them. You say no first to let them know, and then you walk away. Just kind of ignore them. Just snub them a little bit. Not for all day, just a little bit. So you got your 5-year-old to sleep in his own bed, but he stayed up late waiting for mom. Anyway, check out my bedtime battles course. It just teaches you how to keep them in bed and how to get them to sleep. So, but yeah, you might want to check that out. It's up in the link above. That goes from 2 to 8 years old. Oh, don't worry about them throwing fits. If you're following through and doing the right thing or do what you got to do, let them have their fits, scenes, meltdowns, and tantrums. Those are their lessons. All they're doing when they have a fit is that they're mad because they're not getting all their own way. You don't need to validate that. Any feelings wrapped around being mad that they can't have everything they want when they want and how they want it, that's okay to ignore that. Just ignore tantrums. Let them have them. I'm still kind of embarrassed that I thought I got mixed up where the Netherlands was. Still kind of embarrassing. Am I the only one that's really bad at geography? I know almost all the American states, though. I'm Canadian, so I'm pretty proud of that. I don't know all the Canadian provinces, though. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. Oh, I don't let anyone in on my videos. I only did it once. It was a disaster. Yeah, that was years ago. Yeah, I don't do that. Now, I don't understand this. 6, blah, 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 like stars. I don't know what that means. I can't get them to do anything. I'm overwhelmed. Don't have any help. What should I do to get them to start helping out around the house? Okay, if they're between 3 and 12, you can look at my boot camp course. And it kind of stretches up to 14 unless they're 14 going on 40. You know the type. They're just really old for their age. But yeah, it can stretch up to 14. But anyway, check out the boot camp course. If not, you might want to look into coaching. So, and I could maybe help you out. A 5-year-old says, I'm terrible, or I'm horrible, or I'm the worst boy. Every time he gets in trouble, what do we do? Just go, oh, okay. Like, just ignore it. He's saying it to pull you in. Does he say it when everything's going well? Then I'd worry. But if he says it when he's in trouble, it's just a way of pulling you in. He's going for sympathy. So yeah, I just say, whatever. Yep. Let him know that he can't manipulate you. I'm guessing, I'm generalizing, but certainly sounds like pure manipulation. You hate me. Everybody hates me. I'm lousy. Yeah, okay, whatever. And just walk away. Oh, I'm a mother of 6. My kids are 13, 11. Check out the boot camp course. It's for 3 to 12-year-olds. That might be a good fit for you. Yeah, it's a whole, I don't know what's going on. You got to set up systems. You got a lot of kids. So I think the biggest family I worked with, they had 8 kids, and we worked a lot on systems and structure and all that stuff. But the boot camp course will teach you how to start being a leader because you got a lot of kids. I can't give you any general advice because you got so many kids. Yeah. Like there's a lot of stuff you could be doing, but it's all about you. You set yourself up as a leader. Well, I can't talk to your husband, so I'm not going to comment on that one. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm just going to read out a couple notes I have here. Something that happens all the time is parents reason with a toddler, or try to, because they think that they're acting out because they don't understand. So they'll go in great lengths to educate their child on why they shouldn't hit or why they shouldn't throw the toy. You're barking up the wrong tree. Toddlers are not about words. Those mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and explaining why you shouldn't be doing something and it hurts me when you do that, it's just garbage. It's not for them, it's for you. They're all about actions. With toddlers, you use consistent corrective actions. This is under the age of 3. Consistent corrective actions. They're not about words, they're about actions. I know it's trendy to do these mini therapy sessions, but they're just ridiculous. I saw this coming decades ago and I thought, oh my God, what the heck is going on here? Okay, I said worse than that, but anyway. It was that whole style first came in with participation awards. You just turn up and you get an award. You don't have to earn anything. I used to have a column in a newspaper here, and it was parenting, like a Dear Abby, but for parenting. Anyway, so what had happened was someone said, have you read this article? And the article was that a mother in California, her child, she was suing the school, and I believe she won the lawsuit. She sued the school for not giving her child a participation award for sports day, and she won. The kicker is her kid never even went. So you get a participation award for not even turning up. I don't get it. But anyway, she won. So yeah, that was about 30 years ago or so that I first started seeing this coming in. And I said, we're going to be raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. Where's the fortitude? Where's the strength? It's a whole bunch of victims out there. Woe is me. Oh, so sad. Come on, like teach your kids how to wipe their own bottoms. I mean, they don't even know how to balance like their credit cards or anything. You know, they're just so dependent upon you when you do everything for them and you're trying to please them all the time. It's a disaster. 14-month-old hates his diaper change clothes. Yeah, it's just a stage. They're going to go through it. Yeah. Just get them dressed anyway. Just follow through. When you're doing something, make it happen. You got to win those battles. If you let them win, it gets worse. But yeah, they're going to fight you for a while. And then they'll just stop fighting. They're going to realize, oh, there's no point in doing this. Oh, well, I don't know how old the child is. If you go in the room and you see that there's been some writing on the wall and you know it was them, if they're two, I don't know, it's kind of awkward. You got to be right there to see it. But yeah, if they were writing on the wall or something, I would say no, and I would put all of the pens away right away, right away. My kids fight me on bed every single night. Check out my bedtime battles course. That is by far the most successful method of anything I teach. It's bedtime battles. It's usually one night of sheer hell, but would you rather have one really rough night or 500 not so rough nights? Like, it's going to be nasty, but it's often just one night of sheer hell. I'm exaggerating. It might not be sheer hell, or it might be. Yeah, that's in the link above. What time is it? Okay, I'm going to be going over to Instagram. I'm almost always late for Instagram. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to be moving over there, so I'm early. I'm just showing off a little bit. Anyway, if you want to check out the link above, you can see my free behavior board, all my courses, my coaching. I have a wait list, but it's pretty good right now. And you can look into the podcast. My daughter and she works with me, and we're going to be doing, I have had 500 nights of sheer hell. Well, what's one more going to hurt then? Okay, so, or you can look into the podcast. My daughter and I are doing it together. We filmed them way ahead of time. So we just filmed 2 more today. And one of them, we both looked at each other and went, yeah, that was awful. So it's hit and miss. We're pretty good. I would say 3 out of 4 we'll end up using. But yeah, sometimes we just go, yeah, I don't like that one. So we're putting a lot into it. Really enjoy. Now I'm surprised she's doing it because I like the camera and she doesn't so much. So I'm surprised she agreed to do it with me. But I need someone answering asking the questions, and they're all submitted by you. Anyway, I'm moving over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, if not, you can also check out YouTube because I'm on there the whole time I'm doing my lives. I'm on YouTube the whole time, and that's where all of my lives are saved, and all of our podcasts are also going on YouTube, so you can see us talking too if you're interested. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. I'm just pushing button after button. There we go. Okay. All righty. Let me see. The Just Do It Anyways has been working great with my 15-month-old in the car seat. He's stopped fighting after the karate chop a couple times. Excellent. Good for you, Katie. I just give the advice. You're the ones who follow through and do it. My part's easy, although I've done it all before, but a long time ago. But yeah, what she's referring to is the fact that when a kid doesn't want to get in a car seat and they go stiff as a board, you just hold them like this, right in the fold, like right just above or just underneath their belly button area. And you wait for them to take a breath and they weaken a bit and fold them in, clip, clip, and you get them clipped in. So she's referring to the just do it anyway. So if they don't like something and they got to get in the car seat, you got to change their diaper, just do it anyway. Might be messy, might take a bit longer, but don't let them win. If you let them win the battles, they're going to take charge. So you got to win these battles. Tantrum correction for adopted child. We don't correct tantrums. I don't know what you mean by that. And I'm adopted, so we're no different from other kids. Except we're more special because we're chosen. My mom told me that. She goes, other kids were just had, but you were chosen. So I truly thought that I was more special than all the other kids. She did a good sales job on me. And then she had to explain because the other kids were all crying and their moms would phone my mom and say, Lillian, can you please tell Lisa to tell our kids that they're just as special as she is just because they were had and not chosen? She overshot a bit. Okay. Running out of consequences, ideas for 3-year-old. Usually do laundry and media blackout, but she doesn't watch much TV. There must be something favorite that you can take away, and it has to be something that she plays with every single day. Otherwise, you can do what I call inventing leverage. I don't like doing this, but it goes something like this. Say, okay, so you're going to be doing the laundry within 15 minutes of being asked to do so, or whatever. It's just like a quick chore. How old is she? 3-year-old. Okay, so she's just going to do a little chore, and you give her 15 minutes to do it. So this is if she makes breaks the rule in the behavior board. And if she doesn't do it, say, okay, well, you didn't do the chore. So we were going to go out for ice cream tonight, but now we're not going to because you didn't do that. Ooh, she's going to be upset, but that's okay. the odds are she'll do it next time. You got to invest in the scene today to get the rainbow tomorrow. Everyone wants to avoid the storm. The storm is the lesson. So chances are she'll do it next time. You were never going to go up for ice cream, but she doesn't know that. And then also, then she might say, can we go if I'm good tomorrow? Can we go tomorrow? No, it doesn't work that way. You don't reward good behavior. She's not going to just do something to get, say, no, it was just going to be a surprise for tonight. Three-year-old, check out the won't go to bed. So check out the Bedtime Battles course. It's a whole system. It's in two parts. One is how to get them to bed, which is the easy part. The hard part is how to keep them there. So you might want to check that out. Did I even introduce myself here? I don't think I did. Anyway, welcome to Instagram. This is my live. It's just I do them so often, I forget sometimes. I hop around. I'm on YouTube the whole time, and I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, going from my smallest platform to my biggest one. So Instagram's tucked right in the middle. Thanks so much for your support here. I hit 500,000, I think, 2 weeks ago here on Instagram. That's a big number. That's daunting, surprising. TikTok's even bigger, but I mean, I hit that a while ago, but I didn't. And I think in TikTok's, I've heard is easier to hit bigger numbers, but Instagram's harder. So someone told me anyways, I don't know. And YouTube's doing well too. That's YouTube's a search engine. It's not a social media platform, so it's quite different. Anyway, what am I talking about? Anyway, go in the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. You can look into coaching, and you can also look at our new podcast. It's everywhere. It's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. Anyway, it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. So if you go on our YouTube channel, it's all linked above. You can just see it there if you want to, or you can listen to the podcast directly on the website, BratBusters.com. Okay. My daughter and I were laughing today. It'll probably come up in a podcast because we got the giggles yesterday. We were working on something, and we're talking about it again today. Because we work together, right? So she is not maternal, and she's never looked after little kids or anything. And she's 29. She'll have kids one day, but she's very career oriented. So anyway, she was doing pictures on a website or something for us, and she kept saying, "Is this a toddler? She didn't know what a toddler looked like." Mom, is this a toddler? No, that's like a 70-year-old man smoking a cigar. Like she didn't have a clue what a toddler looked like. So we got the giggles. Is this a toddler? No, sweetie, that's like an 8-year-old. Is this a toddler? No, it's a 3-month-old. She had no clue. She's not maternal. She's not clued into that stuff, right? It's funny. 6-year-old antagonizes siblings. Well, I don't know what antagonizing is. You can't put down no antagonizing. So you could figure out something. It's usually something physical, and we can never put attitude on the behavior board. So check out the behavior board. It's completely free. And if she antagonizes, it could be saying a name calling or something. You can put something like that. You can't put attitude on the behavior board or anything personality based, but you can put lying, swearing. So these are things that are words, but they're still specific. You can put down no lying, not that she's lying, but you can put down no lying, no swearing, no bad words, or name calling. So is she name calling? You could put that on the board. So yeah, you could start there, but there's lots of different things of doing. I'm just not exactly sure what she's doing, so it's hard to answer. Like antagonizing could be a million different things. Okay, good question, and I'll tell you why. What should I do when there are school kids influencing my son? He's 6. Okay. Now, when you're a leader at home, they are not susceptible to peer pressure. It just doesn't happen. When you are a leader at home, they're not susceptible to bullying, peer pressure, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea? They look to you. They tell you everything. So work on your leadership skills, and no one can influence a kid who has a leader. Work on your leadership skills because you're their mentor. They look up to you. When you're a good leader, they look up to you. They're not going to do something that that you wouldn't like. They just don't, because they want to please you. He's only 6. When they're teenagers, they just don't want to disappoint you. You want them to be their own leaders. You want to transition into that. but not at 6. You want to be his leader. You want to be his mentor, someone he looks up to. He would not be influenced by anyone else if you're a leader. So check out my boot camp course. It teaches leadership. By the way, I've got we're going to be doing another Q&A, a live group Q&A session. We did it once before. So on all the boot camp, there's 2 boot camp courses, toddlers and 3 to 12-year-olds. We're going to be doing for 6 weeks, every Saturday morning. It'll be coming up. We haven't announced it yet, by the way. It'll be coming up starting on October 19th. I think my daughter's going to put up the announcement tomorrow. I'm not sure. So it's starting on the 19th, and they'll be every Saturday morning. We're going to be doing live group coaching sessions, basically, on those courses. They'll be separated, though. There'll be a toddler time and a 3 to 12-year-old time. So, and some parents have both of them, so you can turn up for the whole thing. And I'll answer as many questions as possible. I never know how many people are going to turn up because it's prime family time, too, Saturday morning, but it's the only time I can do it. So, but yeah, so we're going to do it. Last time it went really well. So, and then all of those sessions will be they'll be recorded, and they'll be included in the courses, just like the other ones were. So if you're interested, you might want to look into that. You can't get access to that unless you're signed into the courses, the boot camp courses, not the mini ones, not the toddler ones, but the boot camp courses. Okay. Do you have any leadership parenting books that you like to recommend along with your courses? I've never written a book, and I've never read one on kids or parenting. So no, I'm the only one that teaches this because I invented all this stuff. So although a lot of people are evidently teaching my stuff now, they're not, and they're taking credit for it. That's okay, as long as they're spreading the word. Is that the biggest compliment, is when someone starts stealing your stuff? Yeah, it's kind of a gross feeling, but if they don't know what they're doing and they're going to copy my stuff, that's okay, as long as it's getting out there. But I often wonder, if they're coaching, how on earth are they going to think on their feet? Coaching is, you got to know what you're doing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall to hear how they're coaching people. If they're selling all their coaching using all my advice, how are they going to coach? I don't know how they're going to do that. Oh, God. Oh, well, I don't mind stuff like that. It's funny. I believe in karma. You get back what you put out. So, there's a lot of toddler questions. Does anyone have an older kid or a teenager? Because I like to mix it up. I specialize in teenagers, by the way. So, I started to talk about something on Facebook, and I didn't finish. I don't know why, but anyway, I got sidetracked, which is like a fly must have gone by. I get sidetracked easy. Okay, I wrote this down, and I put toddlers, : It's not a lack of understanding, but rather a lack of control. Toddlers do not act out because they don't understand that they shouldn't. They know right from wrong. They just act out because it's fun, and they have no self-control yet. Okay, so trying to explain why they shouldn't do something is an absolute ludicrous waste of time. It does nothing for a 2-year-old. Nothing. You use consistent corrective actions, and it's a different way of learning, but it takes time. They learn through repetition, and it's actions, not words. You just say no and remove them from the fun for a minute, or remove the fun from them for a minute or 2 or whatever. It's not time out. You're with them. You take them with you when you remove them. So they learn through repetition. They won't learn the 10th time, maybe the 50th time. But yeah, just having these mini therapy sessions, I know they're trendy right now, but they're so misled. There's nothing behind it. It's just useless. Here again, you're talking about sharing. I try to say, no, that is ours. We share. You're trying to reason with a 2-year-old? Doesn't work. If they grab something, say no, and you give it back to the other kid, and then pull that grabber away for a few minutes. They'll eventually learn. If he understands, it doesn't matter. Understanding does not stop a toddler from doing what they want to do. It means nothing to them. They don't care. If they understand that they shouldn't hit, it does not stop them from hitting. Why would it? I know I shouldn't hit. They all know they shouldn't hit, right? A 2-year-old knows he shouldn't hit. They understand that already. They just don't have impulse control yet. Like, I was just laughing this time. I don't remember if it was a coaching session or what, but anyway, someone said to me, I explained to my toddler that when he hits me across the face, it hurts my feelings. And I told him I love him and he loves me. It was this huge thing. I can't even believe I was reading it. Like I should have bailed ship right away. And I explained it all. And then he hit me again. Can you believe it? I'm like, yeah, of course he did. You just did a therapy session with a 2-year-old. Well, I'd probably hit you too if you did that to me. No one wants a therapy session. What's the point? What's the point? I just don't get it. I don't get who's teaching this. Don't tell me. I don't know who else is out there. But yeah, it's just dumb. It's dumb. Did I mention it's dumb? Did I mention I don't like it? It's frustrating because my clients who hire me, I have to undo all those mistakes. We've been explaining all this to him. I'm like, who told you that? No, don't tell me because I don't want to know. Like, I don't know who else is out there. I'm very careful. I stay in my lane. Everything I've learned, kids taught me all this stuff. So I'm kid taught. Adopted boys with 2 dads, missing birth mom, and are very attached to all females in life. Teaches how to manage this. I don't know. You'd have to hire me. That's more of a specialty kind of thing. Whenever I get same-sex clients, parents as clients, they usually have the other sex as an aunt or something. They always have the other sex as a close someone. You know what I mean? There's usually, like, if there's two dads, they usually have someone that doesn't play the mom role, but is there sort of, to talk about when the girl gets her period and stuff like that. Not that you can't do it, but you know what I mean. So there's usually someone in their life that they will look up to. But I wouldn't worry too much about that because lots of kids are raised with just one parent and they survive. So, and then they're lucky they got 2 parents. Yeah. I don't quite know what to say about that. I don't quite know what you mean. Why are you worried about that, though? Isn't that okay that they're attached, that they do you have any close females in your life, like sisters or your mothers or anyone that the kids could talk to? I don't know. But that's what I found, though. Whenever I'm coaching people with the same-sex parents, they often do have a sister, whatever, Not always, though. Okay, my nephew's 16 years old, is doing the opposite her mom says. Oh, it's a nephew. I don't really give advice, but I'm going to comment on this just because I was so excited when it's a teenage question. That's my specialty, and most questions are about 2-year-olds. He was told to stay away from his girlfriend, so they sneak out and being rebellious. I heard from me that you don't go against someone's parenting. No, you don't. But I will say, I would never tell a teenager, I would never criticize, now that I know better. I think I did it once with one of my kids. I criticized their choice. And yeah, you don't do that. I realized, I thought, why did I do that? Anyway, yeah, you don't. You just push them towards them even more. So, yeah. Yeah. So you got to, teenagers are a specialty. Yeah, that would be coaching if only parents I work with. So. Okay, I'm going to read this out and I'll just clarify something. We don't do therapy sessions, LOL. I use few words like no, ours, but I think it's hard to differentiate corrective action versus being consistent, like saying no each time. Thanks so much for your advice. I don't quite know what you mean about being consistent. You can just say one word, no. No just starts the action going, that's all. You're just announcing the action's coming. The word no doesn't mean anything. It's just no, and then you do action. So yeah, but you got to pick your battles. You can't, it's a lot of work to correct everything. So just pick your battles. And I would pick one thing, especially hitting. If you have a toddler who hits, I would pick that first and foremost for sure. And I would just say, okay, I'm going to stop them from hitting. So, and then you just correct that for a while. Okay. So just work on that for maybe a week. And then you go on to the next one. They probably regress, but then you just go back to what you were doing. They often do regress when they think that you've loosened up a bit. So you got to be consistent. So that's why you just pick your battles, because it's easier to be consistent with one thing than 20 things, right? 14-year-old addicted to gaming. I am fixing myself and being firm and controlling myself. Yeah, okay. 15-year-old gaming. Yeah, welcome to the club. You just have to say, okay, you have so many hours a week where you can go on the console and you can start there and say, let's start the negotiations. I'm thinking 20 hours a week. What about you? You're 10 hours a week, whatever. Negotiate and try and arrive at the same number. So you start high and then he'll start low and then you try and meet somewhere in the middle. Try that and see how it goes. You want to negotiate. You negotiate as much as possible with teenagers. I'm going to read out my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. I find teenagers lovely, but I know how to talk to them. And yeah, it's parents just don't tend to adjust to the teen years very well. So it's not the kids, it's the parents. Okay, these are my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, this is what I was talking about. You negotiate as much as possible. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Negotiate, okay? Hey, I don't want you on the gaming as much as you were before. So how about we set a certain number of hours per week for gaming and let's start the negotiations. Do it like that. Number 3, with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. We all do dumb things. There's nothing wrong with doing stupid stuff sometimes. If it's big stuff, that's a little bit different. But anyway, this is the small stuff. And so you're not micromanaging, in other words. Allow them to make mistakes and learn from them. Number 4 is don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. In other words, if I teach a client to connect with their teenager and they'll be out somewhere with their teenager having a great time, I say, do not bring up how they've disappointed you the last 2 years. How many of them do you think do that anyway? It's more than I would have thought. They'll say, oh, it's just I'm so glad we're having a great time because the last 2 years has been hell with you. And then they can't figure out why they told them to F off and they left. They can't put the pieces together. Don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. So when you talk about the bad times, never. What's the point? Your payback, your revenge will be when they have their own teenagers and you can sit back and watch the show. Mom, you wouldn't believe what they're saying to me. Oh, really? What a shame. I know it's a long haul. You have to wait for that. But yeah, don't ever discuss the bad times. What's the point? If you can come up with a good reason to do that, I'd love to hear it. And I said a good reason. I'd love to hear it. I specialize in teenagers. I've never once found a reason to discuss the bad times. Not once, not ever. Is your behavior board free? Yeah, it's just written rules on how to do it, written explanation and instructions on how to do it. Just go in the link above, look at BratBusters.com. That's my website, BratBusters.com, and it'll be on there. Okay? It's free. Oh, your toddler is just throwing stuff back in your face when you take something away. Well, I don't like that toy anyway. Go ahead. It's just bravado. It's just, yeah, I don't care. He probably does. Just say, okay, well, that's good then. You won't mind me taking it away. Really taking notes. I was just saying to a client today, I would say some of the most successful clients that I work with take a lot of notes. I remember a while ago, I was working with this client, and I tell a lot of stories in coaching. I don't tell on here. And anyway, I was working with this client once, and she wasn't talking at all. And she just kept looking down, and she never talked. And I was quite unnerved by it, actually, but I don't know why. I didn't ask her why not. Normally I would. Come on, this is your session. You're paying for this. Do you have any questions? But I didn't. I just thought, no, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, so eventually, after a couple of sessions, she had a big smile on her face, and I said, what's going on? She goes, it's working. And I said, what's working? And she goes, well, I wrote down everything you said. And she had everything written down, pretty much all my words. She was a scholar, so she was used to note taking, and it was beautiful written. I said, did you write that again? Because it was beautiful. She goes, no, I'm just used to studying. I think she was a college professor or something. So she was very used to studies and note taking. And she'd written everything down. She goes, and I just did it. I removed emotions, like you said. Whenever she was disciplining, she removed emotions and just followed through. And it was working beautifully. But hard to remove the human factor. She was able to do it. most parents struggle with. That's the biggest struggle in coaching, is trying to remove the parents' anger, frustration, their emotions, basically. But if you can shut your emotions down when you're disciplining, it works. Yeah, it's hard. I know it's hard. I never said it was easy, but it's worth it. Do you handle tantrums different when they're 2 versus older than 2? No, it's all the same. The only difference is when they're little, they might throw themselves on the ground, hit their head, because they don't understand concussions and, they haven't hurt themselves enough yet to understand that. So you just physically restrain them to prevent them from hurting themselves. That's the only thing usually. Yeah, it's all just, they're having a tantrum. You're just filing your nails, waiting. Don't talk to anyone. Don't go on your phone. It's important that they see you waiting for the tantrum to be over. It's important that they know you're involved in it, but you're just waiting for it to be over. Do you know what I'm saying? They need to know that they're doing that, but you're just standing, you're nearby. You're just filing your nails or looking at the trees, whatever. And then as soon as they're done, you go, oh, you're all done? You want to go read a book? You don't talk to them or look at them during a tantrum. You're feeding it. Any attention is fertilizing a tantrum. Three-year-old still crying at preschool a month later. So the separation anxiety, is that it? Is this something about my leadership? I don't know. How's your drop-off going? Do you make a big deal out of it? You'll be okay. I love you. Don't do that. Just say, you're all right. I'll see you later. Like it's no big deal. If you make usually the reason why it drags out usually is because the parents make a big deal out of it. But yeah, like when I drop my kids off, because I could see my daughter's chin starting to quiver, I'd say, you're okay. I'll see you later. And off I'd go real fast. And then she was better. But yeah, if I dragged it out, it would have been worse. And also when you come back to pick them up, don't make a big deal out of that. Oh, I missed you all day. Don't do that. Just say, oh, how was it? Oh, I hope you had a good day. Okay, let's get going. That whole matter of fact, like, cheery, chipper, that kind of attitude. Like it's no big deal. So they often feed off your energy, which might be, feeding the sadness and the victimhood and the self-pity. I don't know. You might be. Maybe you're not, but you might be. Okay. I get a 3-year-old to interact with other kids. My daughter doesn't want to interact with her classmates. She sits to look at books by herself. There's nothing wrong with that. When they're 3-year-olds, they're just starting to interact together usually. They don't really get good at it till they're 3 years and 9 months. That's when they start to understand they're not the only humans in the world, that other people have the same feelings and all that. They start to sort of see other people for the first time. It's 3 years and 9 months. It doesn't mean they don't play together before that, but they really start to build friendships and sort of empathize with other people a bit more. They can learn to develop empathy. But that's okay if she's playing on her own. What I would do is, if you're worried about it, enroll her in other things outside of school. So there might be just little, like you can even have free stuff, like stuff at the library. They'll have reading time. Have her sit beside it if she likes to read, obviously, so she can have other kids sitting around reading. She might make a new friend there. Someone might start talking to her. Encourage her to talk to people. You can do role playing. You can say, when we're sitting beside each other, you can say this to a little kid. What do you like to play with? Or what's your favorite game? Or what, you could teach her how to ask questions to ask. Always when you want to teach kids how to make friends, you tell them to ask questions about the other person. That's the best way to make a friend, probably at any age, is ask them about themselves. My mom used to say, I idolized my mother. She just was the most positive. Everyone loved my mom. She was just positive. She was fun too. She was just fun, but really positive, always upbeat. She had a knack. And anyway, and she used to say, sweetie, no one wants to be impressed. They just want to have fun. And it was such a good one. People often try to go out to impress other people. It's boring. No one wants to be impressed. They just want to have fun. And if I put it this way, and if I was around people who were impressed easily, they wouldn't be my types anyway. I want to be around people who just like to laugh and have fun. So that's the friends I kind of always looked out for growing up too. Like I like to laugh and have fun. I'm not trying to impress anyone. So yeah, my mom was brilliant. She really was. Everyone loved my mom. She was one of those that when my friends would come over, I'd get ignored and everyone would sit and talk to my mom. You're so lucky. Your mom's so easy to talk to. Yeah, I know. Do you want to go do something now? Do you want to hang out? I didn't call you over to come and to sit and talk to my mom all day. Yeah, dump and run and no big production at pickup either. Yeah, you're removing the emotions from yourself. So it'll help them. It'll help calm them down. Remember, I teach leadership parenting. They're not listening to you. They're watching you. And if you're calm and you're a calm leader when through the difficult times, you can be crazy during the fun times. But when it's anything a little bit difficult or disciplining or separation anxiety or anything, it's like a business transaction almost. There's no remove emotions. Okay, we'll see you later. Like no big deal. You see? So what's that word? Not flippant. What's that word when you're chipper? But there's a specific word for that. And I've often tried to remember what it is and I can never come up with it. Anyway, it's kind of whimsical. That's not it. Shoot. What would it be? Never mind. I get stuck on these things. And okay, what if they ask for a hug during a tantrum? No, that's not a love hug. That's a validate me hug. You don't hug during a tantrum. You're hugging the tantrum. You're actually condoning it. So no, that's not a love hug. That's validate me. You're actually rewarding the tantrum, basically. Good tantrum. Good. Do it again. That's what you're saying. Now, when I'm hired by child psychologists, especially, not so much anymore, especially because most people watch me before they hire me and they've heard me talk about this, but sometimes they haven't heard this before. And when I get a child psychologist or someone with a child development degree, they'll say, well, if they ask for a hug, you never say no because it could damage them emotionally. If your child is damaged by not hugging a tantrum, you got bigger things to worry about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they're that fragile about you don't love them, come on. Ignoring a tantrum is not taking away love. It's ignoring the crazy. So yeah, that's not a love hug they're after. It's a validate the tantrum hug. Yeah, there's no way. I want to hug. I don't hug right after a tantrum either. So if they're finished, I want a hug, and they're finished with the tantrum, I just go, you're all right. Do you want to go read a book? You see, that same chipper kind of, you're okay. Let's go. And you pat them on the back. You're all right. Let's go read a book. Because if you hug right after a tantrum, you actually look like you feel sorry for them. And you're, again, validating good tantrum. It's validating it. So you'll get more of them, basically. Yeah, I love when you say listen to understand. I always found that I was being listened to for information to use later. Yeah, it's hard to do. And I do it with all ages, to be honest. I listen to understand, show empathy. I don't gather information to lecture with because them just talking, what I might say afterwards, not with a teenager though. Once you've listened to a teenager unload on you, you go silent. It's hard to do. It's very hard. It's awkward. So they've just unloaded on you and then you show empathy. You go, oh, that would be frustrating. I can see that. Yeah. See, it's awkward right now, isn't it? If they want to talk, that you just opened the door to it. So they've just unloaded on you. Now, if they want your advice or they want to keep talking, you just left the door wide open. If you keep talking, you shut the door. Oh, don't ask me to go on about that. I could go on about that forever. The psychology behind that. Silence is golden in certain situations. That's a prime example of when silence is golden. But with younger ones, I might say, oh, that would be frustrating. I can understand that. So what are you going to do? I would ask them, what do you think you should do? So ask them to problem solve. So, and then you're talking, my mom used to say, if I went to my mom, from the time I was little, I used to go to my mom. This is where I learned a lot of this stuff. She was fabulous. Anyway, I go to my mom and I'd say, Mommy, I said, someone was mean to me. Whatever. I'd said, I don't know. I was a bit of a drama queen. So then she would say to me, well, I don't know. You're a smart girl. You can figure it out. And I always thought I was solving all my own problems, but she was talking to me. She'd go, yeah, that's a good idea. I remember when I was your age, I tried that. So she was kind of feeding me information, but she never told me what to do. And I never told my kids what to do. I worked it through with them and said, yeah, that's a good idea. Then sometimes they'd come up with a better idea than I had. I tend to run very highly on emotions. And my kids are more inclined to think before they act. I'm not like that at all. I have no filter. I just act, so, and they're very good at stopping and thinking before they act. And I take credit for that actually, because I did make them stop and think a lot. And I'd say, what do you think you should do? Plus I definitely run more on emotions. They have a lot more self-control than I do in some ways. I don't have a temper though, at all. I do have I just don't think before I say something. Then I don't have to filter myself because I've got nothing evil going on behind. I got nothing to hide, basically. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, what do I need to filter for? Not that they have to filter, you know where I'm going with that. Never mind. I'm okay with looking goofy. I don't have a lot of pride and dignity sometimes. I just let stuff fly. That's okay. That's why I relate to kids so well, because they're like that. Lighthearted. Yeah, that's a good, it's not quite the word. It's like chipper or something like that. But yeah, lighthearted. Yeah. So when you're saying goodbye, yeah, see you later. It's kind of, lighthearted. No emotions, just cheery and chipper. Is it chipper? Is that it? No. Okay. Do you or can your methods apply to autistic children too? Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. That autism's a specialty. It's more special needs kind of thing. So I only really discuss that during one-on-one coaching with me. If you want to hire me for coaching, I have an intake form, which is a wait list. You can look at that above. Sometimes stuff does work. A lot of it does work. Depends where they are on the spectrum too. But I always say with kids on the spectrum, we throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. I want to know also, I need to know what worked in the past and what didn't. Some of them are really adverse to certain sounds or, certain things that we just can't use. So we have to do workarounds. But I've worked with lots of autistic kids, so I have a lot of ideas, but you could probably come up with a lot that I haven't seen too, because you have to get really creative with autistic kids sometimes. Shoot, I'm late for TikTok. Oh, I hate it when I'm running late. Anyway, I got to go. Check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, all my courses, my coaching, and our new podcast. My daughter and I are doing it together because we work together. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm hopping over to TikTok and I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where all my lives are saved. Happy parenting. Bye now. It's just TikTok. They always start a video now when you first go on it. They didn't used to do that. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. This is from Tabitha. I love your I'll tell the leader parent trick. So what I used to tell my ex-husband is if the kids ever acted out in front of him, I said to him, just say, do you want me to tell mom? And they would go, nope, never mind, because I was the leader, right? So anyway, this Tabitha says, it works when my toddler is alone with either parent. Does that mean we are both leaders? So you're threatening with the other one? No, it just gives it more weight, like you kind of know what you're doing. Do you want me to tell mom or do you want me to tell dad? It just gives it a little bit more weight. Kind of looks like you know what you're doing in a way. You're going to get together on it. So yeah. Or you could both be leaders. You could have two leaders. You could both be leaders. Or it could just be that thread of we're going to get together and discuss it. It just makes it look like you kind of really know what you're doing. Whereas with my ex, it wasn't that way. They knew that mom was going to take charge. They knew for sure. And he probably would have done more disciplining if I wasn't so good at it. That was just my thing. I was the leader. And I didn't want him messing them up. I said, I don't want you disciplining them because I know what I'm doing. I had tons of experience with kids. So I said, just threaten with me. And also when I dropped my kids off at school for the first time, I said to the teacher in grade 1 with both my kids, I said, if my kids ever step a toe out of line, never discipline them. That's my job. You call me and I'll do it. So teachers love me. My kids never stepped a toe out of line. But yeah, that's my job to send nice kids to school. I wasn't gonna put parent or teachers through anything. Advice on 9-year-olds suddenly acting out at school. I don't know what's happened. It's usually triggered by something. So I would have to investigate that. Oh, welcome to TikTok. I know I'm late. I was 3 minutes late. Usually I'm late, but I wasn't late I'm usually late for Instagram because I go Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. But I wasn't late for Instagram. So of course I was late for TikTok. I'm always running late with one of these. Anyway, check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, all my parenting courses, and my coaching one-on-one with me, or you can look at the podcast. We have a brand new podcast out. Are you Barbara's sister? Nope. I don't know who Barbara is. Nope. I don't have a sister. So no. Okay. How did you discipline? That's a big question. I mean, how did I parent? I didn't really discipline my kids past the age of 3, I would say. They were self-disciplined at that point. Yeah, they just knew right from wrong, and they just were easy. They made good choices because they knew if they made a bad choice, mom would come in with a consequence. It was that simple. But I got respect when they kind of knew I knew what I was doing. So if you're learning to do this, they're going to act out more. I used to say to my kids, if you're good, life is good. If your bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of that because I'm your mom and that's my job. So yeah, they knew that I always told them, you get back what you put out. So put out good stuff. So yeah, they were just easy kids right through the teen years. Oh, there's the odd hiccup here and there, but not much. My 7-year-old is going into fight or flight mode. Do you recommend handling that like a tantrum? I have no idea what that's around. Fight or flight. That's very different from a tantrum. I don't quite know what that is. That's usually fear-based. So, and a tantrum isn't. A tantrum is usually anger at not getting their own way, whereas fight or flight is fear. So they're different. I don't know what the situation is. It's a 7-year-old, Jessica. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, if you got any questions, go ahead. I'll jump on any teenage questions because it's usually toddler questions on here, and I like to mix up the ages. I do. Teenagers are my favorite age. Okay, how do you redirect a 12-month-old on the floor, not sure how to communicate, not throw? Now, you never use words. So that's actually an easy one to do. So if they throw something on the floor, you pick it up, you say no, throw it in the garbage. It has to be fast. They have to connect all the dots. They throw it, you grab it, say no, and throw it away. Then you hand feed them. And that's it. They're usually going to fight it. No. Okay, all done. Wipe them up and put them down. A few minutes later, try it again. Put them up, give them a little bit of food. As soon as they throw it, no, throw it away and hand feed them. They'll eventually eat. They're only 12 months old. I do that with, all toddlers. They'll eventually learn. It might be a rough day. They might have to skip a meal, maybe have a little light snack later. But yeah, you got to win these battles. If you let them win these battles, then watch out down the road. You want to set yourself up for a happy family, you don't want to be doing this forever. Like I just got my kids I got respect when they were tiny, so I just sailed right through the teen years. But I knew how to maintain it too. Age for teen to have a cell phone. Wait till they can afford it or too strict? No, I would get them a phone because you want to be able to get a hold of them. There's all sorts of, I would say about 12 or 13. And there's all sorts of blocks that you can put on the phone, but they absolutely mandatory. They have to have a tracker. There's no way I would give a kid a phone without a tracker on it. So I knew where they were at all times. And that's okay that they know where you are too. That's a good way of saying, well, I don't want you knowing where I am. Why not? What are they doing? I always knew they didn't have trackers on their phone, but I always knew where my kids were right through the teen years. At any given time, I knew where they were because we communicated. Plus, they knew where I was too. So there's no mysteries. We all trusted each other. So yeah, just make sure there's a tracker though. Nowadays, back then, I don't know. I just didn't worry about it because I always knew where they were. But then when I look back on it now, it would have been better to have a tracker. What if someone grabbed them and driving away with them? It's always better to have a tracker on their phone. So yeah, and you have to have all their passwords too. They're going to get around that. They'll always outsmart you with technology, but don't make it look like a discipline. Just make it look like a safety thing. Well, you're young. I need to have access to your phone, and say I won't look at it unless I have to, or unless I'm worried. I'll tell you a funny story. My son was, I don't know, 15, 16, and he was starting to get moody and wasn't talking to me as much. We were like best buddies. We were like girlfriends. Well, I know we were because when I said, why aren't you talking to me as much? He said, Mom, I'm not your girlfriend anymore. I'm turning into a man. He actually said that to me. Anyway, so I said, are you okay? Are you doing drugs or anything? He was hanging out with a rougher crowd. And I thought, He says, no, Mom. He said, no, I'm not. So anyway, and I always said, I totally respect your privacy unless I'm worried about your safety. Okay, so there's the setup. I never thought I'd have to do this, but I was really worried about him. And he was just getting moodier, wasn't talking as much. He was getting more sullen. You know, he was becoming a teenager. He was a teenager. He was probably 15, I think. So anyway, when he was at school, I ransacked his room. I turned over all the drawers, everything. I went into, and I was good at it. I went through everything because I've worked with teenagers before and I've heard where they can hide stuff. So I didn't rip his mattress apart though. So I went through everything, didn't find a thing. He came home after school and his room was ransacked and I was fast asleep on his bed. I'd passed out. I was exhausted. So I passed out on his bed and he came home, opened up his bedroom door and he said, well, aren't you a sight? And he walked away laughing. That's the only, I didn't find it. He wasn't doing anything. I found out years later he wasn't. For sure, you know, because you never know for sure. But yeah, he never did anything. It was hilarious. And then he got a nice, clean, organized room. I love cleaning and organizing, so I ended up cleaning and organizing his room so we could find everything. It was messy very soon after that, though. You got to give teenagers something. I gave them the freedom of a messy room. There was no food or dirty laundry allowed in their rooms, though, because that's smelly, right? So, but anything else, they were allowed to have a messy room. And I'm very fussy. So it wasn't even hard for me because I thought, well, they got to have something. You can always shut the door, right? But every so often I was allowed to go in because I love cleaning. So every so often I was allowed to go in and clean their rooms, but not when they were around. It just got on their nerves. But that was just my choice, just because I like cleaning. Didn't see that coming. What, me ransacking the bedroom? I did something really stupid once, and it's a story I often tell. I can't remember it right now. I've done some really dumb things as a mother. And most of the stories I tell in coaching when it comes to my own kids. I don't like to divulge a lot, especially as they get older. When they were little, I'll tell a lot when they were little, but not as they get older. And they're adults. My son's a father now and everything. Did you ever lay down bed with them? Then it was hard to leave? No, never. They went to bed really on their own, and I would read to them, and then they'd say, "Okay, good night," and then that was it. Bedtime was a piece of cake. So yeah, they were just, by the time they went to bed, they were ready to go to sleep. Although my son loved to read. He doesn't read now, but he loved reading. So he would stay up, and then I'd just go in and say, "Okay, lights out now," and that was it. It was easy. But yeah, I never laid in bed with them unless we were cuddling and, like I would tell, we'd sit and talk about our day or something, but I didn't lay there till they fell asleep kind of thing. It was nothing like that. What's the number one thing to being a leader? There is no one thing. That's like saying, what's the number one thing to do to lose 50 pounds? There's a whole system. But I'll tell you my top where is it? My top 3 leadership qualities. Okay, I'll give you that much. But there's a lot to each one of those. These are my top 3 leadership qualities because I teach leadership parenting. You're like a mentor, someone they look up to, okay? You're not an authority and you're not a pleaser. You're a leader, and that's more like a mentor. Someone that they look up to and they want to please, and you make them feel great about themselves. Anyway, these are my top 3 tips for leadership parenting. Number 1, you stay calm during the storms. When you're disciplining and times are rough and all that, you stay completely calm. And then number 2 is you be crazy during the rainbows. When everything's happy, just be nuts and crazy and best buddies with your kids. And then number 3 is become a great listener, especially past the age of 3. You get really good at listening to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. They won't tell you anything if they're going to get a lecture at the end of it. So those are my top 3 leadership qualities. Funny thing is, I'm a follower in my personal life because people say, well, I can't do this. I'm not a leader. I'm not a leader. Neither am I. I hate it. It's a lot of work. I couldn't be bothered. I lead my business. I got a lot of responsibilities, right? My daughter works with me. I got a lot of responsibilities. In my personal life, I'm a follower, very much so. You tell me where to go, what time to be there, what to wear, what to eat once I get there, when to go home. I'm a follower. I'm very, I choose people to be with that are more dominant, like when they want to organize things. I don't want to organize anything. I don't want to be in charge of my personal life. You do it. You do it. I have no interest in that. So I'm very much a follower. But I have to like you know what I mean, people I'm close with. Like my daughter loves being in charge, very much so. And I hate it. So she runs the business basically. Sometimes I'll say, oh, can I do this now? No, Mom, it's not the right time. I've got it all planned out. Here's the plan. Here, and then she'll go, I'll just show you a little bit of it because she knows I don't really want to see it. She loves all that stuff. The thing is that a good leader does what's best for other people. A bossy person is very different. A bossy person tells you what to do that suits them. A good leader leads so that that person feels good about themselves. My daughter's a wonderful leader. Whatever she tells me to do in my business or even personal life, she'll tell me what to do. It's always for my own benefit, not for hers. That's a leader. A bossy person, it's all about them. You know what I mean? The bossy boots out there. It's all about them. I have no interest, no time for them whatsoever. But I like a really good leader who says, Lisa, I know that you like this or that. So we're going to go there. And how about, you go to bed early. So we're going to make sure we get home early. And you know what I mean? Like people who look after you. I really like that in my personal life. I don't want to be a leader in my personal life. So you don't have to be a leader to be a good leader parent. Okay? Because a lot of parents will say that to me. Well, I'm not a leader. So this is kids. It's different. We talk a lot about being a leader. Just keep watching. Check out my courses, my free behavior board. We've got a podcast. My daughter and I are doing that. I can't tell you how to be a leader in one sentence. It took me years to figure all this out. So it's a process. And it took me years to figure out how to teach this too. So I teach it. I teach how to do this step by step by step. Yeah, it's not overnight. There's a lot to learn. Someone actually contacted me and they said, okay, can you tell me the secret to growing numbers online? You want me to spend how many years with you explaining how I built my business? Like, I was so shocked by that question. Like, just tell me how to get 1 million followers. And they wanted me to answer that. But yeah, anyway, I didn't answer it. But yeah, it just struck me as funny. Can you tell me how to get, can you just tell me how to get 1 million? It was on an email. Can you tell me how to get 1 million followers? Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've been in business for like 20 years and yeah. There you go. Get good at what you do for one thing. Know what you're doing. A lot of people want the followers without anything to back it up with. But yeah, a lot of parents expect respect without earning it. It's like a lot of people just have this entitlement sort of thing. Don't expect your kids to respect you. You got to earn that. You got to work for that. I work for that. I worked my butt off when I worked with kids because I had my work cut out for me. I was never handed an easy kid to work with. Not once, not ever. Good luck with this one, Lisa. Good luck with this 15-year-old violent teenager. Good luck with this one. I had to earn this stuff. You got to work for this, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. Earning the respect of a child and a teenager who doesn't respect anybody, doesn't respect themselves. Earning their respect, it's so worth it. It pays off. Everything I'm telling you is hard work, but the payoff is wonderful. I wouldn't tell you to do this unless I believed in it and unless I know that there is a rainbow at the end of this storm. I know it's difficult sometimes, but there is a rainbow at the end of it. But you got to go through the storm to get there. You got to work for it. Felt like I was up on a pulpit there for a second. Okay, I'm finished. I'm all done. So I'm just going through all my notes here. Okay. Look at if you want to know about leadership parenting, I'm going to get going now. Look at my very first video on here. It's called Example of Leadership Parenting. It's on TikTok. It's the very first video. It's also on Instagram. I think it's the second or third video. It's pinned. Facebook, I don't know where it is. But anyway, it's called Example of Leadership Parenting. It's the pool story. It explains leadership exactly to a T on how I do it. You deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. Your goal is that kids like themselves when they're with you. Therefore, they want to please you because you make them feel good. You bring out the best in them. That's what a leader does. We're not going for obedient soldiers here. That's ridiculous. We want children who make good choices because they have pride in themselves. Anyway, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, all my parenting courses. You can look into private coaching with me, and you can check out our brand new podcast. My daughter and I are doing it together, answering your questions. Happy parenting. Bye now.